Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Album, this video is an album review on Catherine Wheel's 1992 album Ferment. Um, Catherine Wheel's a UK band formed in 1988 and lasted through about 2000. Um, I want to say they had like around like four albums, I think it was, four or five albums, or maybe it was three or four, somewhere around there. Um, I remember hearing Catherine Wheel's name a lot around this time when I was in high school. From people that, I trusted their taste, but I never got around to kind of getting into them. But I've always wanted to check out their albums. And I'm happy to say that I was really impressed by Ferment, this album. Pleasantly surprised. I'm glad doing this indie pop or indie rock slash dream pop slash shoegaze kind of focus week that I'm doing on album reviews, doing one album from each of the more known bands in this genre from in the 80s and 90s. I'm really glad that I added Catherine Wheel to the list and do this album because I was really impressed by the band, really impressed by their sound. Rob Dickinson, the lead vocalist, I really like his vocals. Um, the guitar player, I guess Brian Furter is the main guitar player. Uh, I like how the guitar turns sort of indie and then sort of has some more epic guitar parts where it sounds more like The Cure. Like it sounds like some of the heavier Cure, um, like Wish type Cure guitar, like From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea, or you know, um, Cut or Open or something like that. Just kind of has some more epic guitar to it that sort of takes the lead. It's not just like the normal shoegaze where it's kind of layering guitars or layering the effects of the guitar, but there's really some layering of actually different guitars in that lead kind of guitar kind of going off and kind of doing its own little solo in some ways. Um, like on Black Metallic or I Want to Touch You, for example. Those two tracks are good examples of that. Um, as far as some of the songs, my favorite songs on the album are Black Metallic, Salt, Ferment, Flower to Hide, and Indigo's Blue. Really like those tracks. This album is definitely more indie rock for sure than um, indie pop or any kind of shoegaze or dream pop. This is definitely an indie rock album. The production's well balanced. Um, I like that they aren't over enamored with their sound and trying to perfect their sound. Like I get that a little bit with Curve. Even though I like Curve's Doppelganger that I reviewed, I do feel like they were trying a little too hard with their beats, trying to be like industrial or trying to give that edge to the sort of indie rock sound. I respected it and I liked it for the most part, but there was a lot of them that did kind of same beat or were doing that, and I think a little bit of the drums kind of got in the way of not overly because it wasn't to the point where it was like it was distracting, but I feel like in Catherine Wheel that they're not really enamored with trying to perfect their sound or get a certain sound. It's like they actually have material and talent enough to make full songs and make a full album. Like this album is very consistent from start to beginning. There's yeah, I like songs from Ride and Bloody Valentine and Jesus the Mary Chain better than any song on this album. Like if you take my favorite two from the Ride album I just reviewed, Nowhere, or Psycho Candy, Jesus Mary Chain, or My Bloody Valentine, uh, Isn't Anything. If you take the top song or the top two songs on any of those three albums, I like them more than any probably song on here. Metallica is my favorite probably song on here. But this album is really consistent. Like Salt as well. The 5 tracks I mentioned are all really strong. I didn't give any song less than a 2.5 star, 2.25 stars. So all the songs are at least good, and there's 11 on here. Um, just a really well balanced album, really strong. Um, like the album, like the song "She's My Friend" is much more rocking sound than the normal indie pop or shoegaze. Um, Again, the highs on this album aren't as high as some others, but the very good songs are more consistent on this album. I feel like than many of the shoegaze albums that I reviewed. The opportunities on this album is there's really no immediate standout song. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily, um, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I put in here this note. I'm not sure what it means because I'm just reading my notes here. It's been a couple days since I reviewed this, but it says possibly over getting to some of the songs we stand. Oh, okay. So what I was saying, since there's no standouts, that some of the other songs sort of don't stand out, and so maybe they start sounding a little similar because nothing stands out. That's just a question mark. I don't think that's true with this album, but sometimes when you have like you don't have any highs and lows, like everything can kind of be consistent, which is good, which is what you want. But it's not great consistent. It's good consistent, and maybe that sort of can lend to where it's sort of maybe some of it sounds the same, or sort of similar, or nothing stands out, so you don't think it's that great of an album. I don't think that's the case with this album. I think it is a more well balanced song, but there aren't any really super standout tracks to me. Going track by track, Texture 2.25 stars. I Want to Touch You 2.5 stars. Black Metallic 3.5 stars. Indigo's Blue 3 stars. She's My Friend 2.5 stars. Shallow 3 stars. Ferment. I really like the atmosphere in here. I'm like, oh my god, some atmosphere, yay! Because I'm just, it's funny when you listen to a lot of these shoegaze albums. Just and then you look at like Cocteau Twins. Like Cocteau Twins had such atmosphere. A lot of these shoegaze albums don't really have the atmosphere that I was kind of hoping for on some of the ones the bands that I knew, but I didn't know some of their other songs on their albums, or I didn't know their album all the way through. A little disappointed that the atmosphere wasn't better on some of the songs. Just some background sounds, like some, But Ferment, if you don't know this album, like that one has really good atmosphere in the background. Just the whole entire track has atmosphere, which is good. But surprisingly, kind of more rare for this time compared to a lot of other bands. Ferment 3.25 stars. Flower to Hide 3.25 stars. Tumble Down 2.25 stars. Bill and Ben 2.75 stars. And Salt I really really like too. The closer 3.5 stars. Great way to close the album. When I add up the stars, 31.75 stars divided by 11 songs, 2.88. So 71 out of 100. So very good album, very good album, solid all the way through. Just surprising that I voted this a better album than Ride Nowhere. Surprising that I voted this better than a Psycho Candy by Jesus Mary Chain, or My Bloody Valentine's opening. Surprisingly, Catherine Wheel I felt like is a better album. Ferment. Crazy, but that's kind of the fun thing about doing these reviews. I'm reviewing the whole album, not reviewing just a couple of the best songs by a band, or I love Ride's Vapor Trail song. It's one of my favorites ever. But it's just that album isn't as good as Ferment, as a whole. Really enjoy this album though, Catherine Wheel. I'm excited to check out some of their other albums. I'm glad I did this review and did this band, because I do really like this album, and I do really like their sound, and I feel like they actually have something to say, and they can make a whole album. So I'm excited to kind of see their other albums, and also, yeah, to kind of wonder why they still aren't going around the last 25 years and doing music. So I'm curious to look into that more and then check out their other material. But yeah, that's my review on Catherine Wheel's 1992 album, Ferment. Really good album. 71 out of 100. Strong album. All right, thanks so much.